Want to play football? I don't understand the rules of the game.
Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Brady, and this is We Could Have Been Doctors, the podcast we've started. And since then, after starting 8-0, the Steelers have gone 4-5.
Some would say maybe it's our fault. Others would say it is our fault. So
I am others. Josh,
I guess
let's get into it, buddy.
all right. So as Brady said, 11-0 to losing 5 out of the last 6 feels bad. Hurts even more to lose to the Browns. What's there to say other than almost this was expected to an extent?
It's the same. It just feels so much like the Jaguars game a couple of years ago.
Exactly. So 2017, Jaguars scored 45 points. 2020, Browns scored 45 points. We have, in our last 2 home playoff games, we have lost by a collective of 90 points. We have given up 90 points at home in our last 2 home playoff games. One to the Jaguars, who they weren't even that good that year. They kind of snuck in like the Browns. And then this year to the Browns. Freaking Baker Mayfield throwing to who knows who. There was an interview. Jarvis Landry said that, I forget who it was. I think it was the tight end. One of the dudes who was catching crap all over the field against us. Jarvis Landry said before the game started, he had to go and introduce himself to him because he had never seen the guy in his entire life because they pulled him from practice squad. Said the day of the game, Baker Mayfield was shaking hands with some of the guys that were playing because he had never played with them before. And
it was actually a guard of theirs. It wasn't a receiver.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
He had to come in when the Browns had an injury. So that whole fourth quarter where we didn't register a sack the entire game, they were playing with,
They had backup tackles on both sides, and the defense could not get a single sack. In the fourth quarter, TJ Watt was on the sideline, gassed for a decent amount of plays. He wasn't even playing. Like, there was just a systematic collapse of
Well, that's
everything.
what happens when you throw
68 passes a game.
Well, no, I mean, when you have early turnovers, when you're down 28-0, that means that those second and third quarters, where the other team is going to start running the ball and playing a little bit more meticulous, our defense is going to get winded. The Steelers, like our offense, toward that middle part of the game, we were driving. That third quarter was, we had a lot of success on offense, but it was quick drives. We got out of balance. We were in hurry up offense. That just means that our defense is going to get back out there and they're going to be so tired. This game, I think it comes down to 2 plays. The first play being obviously the snap over Ben's head. It's the first snap of the game. And if you watch replays of it, Connor and Ben both had a chance to fall on the ball.
Why didn't they just kick it backwards out of the end zone? There is so much football IQ that just went out the window on that play. You never try to recover that. Kick that out the back of the end zone. Any high school football player could tell you, I do not try to jump on this ball. I get it out of here.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you remember the Broncos game that was between the Broncos and Seahawks, it was the Super Bowl. At least Sean Marino, he fell on the ball, he carried it out. The Broncos started with an opening snap safety. 2 points with a non-guarantee of more points is way better than a touchdown. And it just puts us in that early hole, and it was just the worst note to start out on. The second play that dictated how this game went. Yeah, it's the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's 4th and 1. We are only down by 12. I say only because, for the rest of the game, we were down by 28. We were down by
12 is manageable. That's a 2-score game. This Steelers team.
We're at the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. We're essentially at midfield. This is true. We decided to punt on that play instead of going for it on 4th and 1. That had a surrender index. There's an index that keeps track of how terrified and how scared of a play call a punt was in a certain scenario. Had a punt index, surrender index of 9.29, which might not mean much. That is in the 95th percentile of scared punts throughout the season, and since 2009, it's in the 92nd percentile. There's only one punt in the last 10 weeks, meaning, toward the end of the season where teams really have to make the decisions, that was more cowardly than our punt that evening. And it would happen earlier in the day with the Titans-Ravens game when the Titans punted when they were on the 40-yard line of Baltimore with it.
And they also should have gone for it there.
Exactly. That's what the surrender index means. It's just at that point, when you're at the 46, you might as well go for it. If you give up a field goal, it's still a 2-possession game.
You give up a field goal, you go from down by 12 to you're still down by like there is no reason. Like anyone who's watching that game could be like, okay, yeah, 4th and 1. We're in there. They couldn't even get the punt off without having to take the delay. Like, didn't we take a penalty so that we could actually get a good punt off?
The delay of game was intentional.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, we were in their territory enough that it's like, you don't need to punt this. You had to take a delay of game to actually be able to punt this ball because the Bears' legs, any punter's leg is too big. Like, it's.
You want to also, Josh, do you understand why we went for 2 points, like the times that we went for 2 points, or did you not get that?
I didn't get it at all.
Okay, so let me walk.
I got it the 3rd time because at that point you're like,
yeah. Well, obviously the later ones make sense.
Yeah, the later, but at the beginning I didn't.
The first time when we were down 10-35, and then we scored a touchdown, it made it 16-35. That's right there is a. Let's do some quick math. That's a 19-point difference, right? Which is a 3-possession game. The reason that we don't make it an 18-point difference and 17-35 is because it was early in the 3rd quarter. I think there was about 11 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And you have to figure that the Browns are going to score another touchdown. You just have to figure that they're going to at least get one more touchdown for the rest of the game. So if the Browns got to 42 and we're at 17, that's still a 4-possession game. It's a 25-point game. If we make the score 18-42, right there, that's a 24-point game. It's still 3 possessions. That's why we went for 2 the first time. I'm actually very surprised that Tomlin was smart enough to do that because that's a very forward-thinking call. I loved it, but I was getting texts from people left and right of like why we went for it there. And it's an
analytics play. That's one of the ones where if you don't get the 2-point conversion, it doesn't hurt you at all in any scenario, or in most scenarios, you're not going to get hurt if you go for 2, don't get it. But if you go for 2, the payoff is insane. Not insane. It just, it makes it better.
Big apologies to anybody who texted me after the first quarter ended in that game. I did not respond. I was 0 dark 30.
That was me.
Well, you were one of them, but I'm talking to I'm from Ohio. I had literally, this is the true number, 63 people text me throughout the game knowing that I was a Steelers fan. Only 40 of them were Browns fans. So I only respected 40 of you. But we got some Oakland fans out there. We got some Chicago fans out there.
You're a Chicago Bears fan. You can't chirp about anything. Your franchise is garbage.
Mitch Trubisky is the MVP.
MVP Mitch. Let's go. Staying in line with how atrocious that playoff game was, Steelers last 4 years, 2017, lost to the Jaguars where they put up 45. 2018, we started 7-2-1, finished 9-6-1. 2019, we started 8-5, finished 8-8. 2020 started 11-0, finished 12-5. So over the last three years, the Steelers are 5-11 in December and January.
The way I see it, there are four big pieces that dictate what the Steelers do, and it's Tomlin, it's Randy, it's Ben, and it's Colbert. I say 2 of them need to go if we have to have big change, or we're going to have the same results. And obviously, where I stand. I love Coach Tomlin, and I think Colbert is a great GM. He does well in the draft. I think if Randy and Ben go and we get a whole new coaching regime in there, under Tomlin, I think we can get to that next step. But I think Randy and his offensive play calling, it just caught up to him eventually. The magic died down after like week 9.
So I agree with you to a certain extent. Ben and Finkner can take a hike. I know that Ben has already said, no, I'll come back if they want me back. And Tomlin, when asked about that, said, we're not that far with 2021 yet. He said, we're still dealing with whatever. So, nothing's concrete there. I also think that I think more has to be done other than let's swap out coordinators, I love Tomlin. He's a great coach. I'm not sure he's the great coach for Pittsburgh anymore. I think he could go anywhere else and create an amazing program, same as what he did here in Pittsburgh. But I don't know if he's got it anymore for the Steelers. And it's hard to say because he does so well in the regular season. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't give a crap how well you do in the regular season. If you can't get a playoff win, it doesn't matter. He has won Super Bowl. That team was kind of handed to him, though. That was his first year. He didn't build that team, but he hasn't really done anything. I'm not to the point where I'm like, some of these other Yinzers, fire Tomlin, get him out. But I'm definitely tired of this, especially when you look at the last 3 years. And then where the team started good and finished horribly, and then also throw in that horrible Jacksonville loss with a team that shouldn't have beat us.
Juju and Ben were very close, and they had a really good relationship. You have to think if we're able to if Ben retires and then we don't re-sign Juju, I mean, a lot of that locker room cancer that we might have can probably dissipate with those two gone. We get another quarterback. The quarterback market's pretty deep this year. So if Ben is gone and we get one of these other guys, it could work.
And I know you don't watch college football at all, where I personally do because I'm lonely and have nothing else to do. This draft class is good for a QB. There could be someone decent sitting for us at our first round pick, which we pick at 24. I would prefer we didn't go quarterback with our first round pick. I mean, we're really good at picking up decent quarterbacks in the second, third round. Dobbs and what?
No, we're not.
They're not horrible. I don't think
good quarterbacks since Ben.
I don't think Rudolph and Dobbs are horrible, and I also don't think Duck is that bad either. Are they franchise quarterbacks? No.
A quarterback that's more than not horrible, Josh.
Okay, well then we could use our first round pick to get someone who's not horrible. Because
I'm saying that the market is deep enough that we could take someone who's already proven, to a degree, like a James Winston type.
I don't see the Steelers making. I don't see the Steelers making a free agency quarterback move. I just don't. I don't see that unless
we've never been in the position to have to do that. I mean, the last time we did it was Tommy Maddox, and that was before Ben. We've never had to go to we say that the Steelers wouldn't do that, but it's because we've never been in the position to be able to. This year, it seems like a lot of teams are trying to unload their tenured quarterbacks, like Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan.
I don't want either of those two. Matthew Stafford, I would take. No.
Yeah, you're wrong about that, man. Matt Ryan's still got the juice. He's got still 2-3 good years left.
I don't want a quarterback where it's like you pick up this heavy contract for 2-3 years. Give me a rookie. Steelers are gonna have to slug it out for the next couple years. Partial rebuild mode.
What do you think we need to trade to get both JJ and Deshaun Watson?
To get JJ, nothing, a bag of peanuts. Texans are going to cut him. Deshaun Watson, we probably need to ship our entire draft. And if anyone's going to get Deshaun, it's going to be –
We should.
If anyone's going to get him, though, it's going to be the Dolphins. They got 3 first-round picks. They can ship 2 of their first-round picks, still keep one, and then the rest of their draft and still be fine. The Dolphins could literally ship back all of the picks that they got from Houston to get him. So, I did look into the JJ Watt thing. If they cut him, it saves them $9 million. They're going to cut him. That organization has a lot of turmoil, more so than ours, magically.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to calm down from doomsday over there.
I'm always doomsday.
There's not turmoil here. We still made the playoffs. I mean, a bad year for us was last year, and we went 8-8 still without a quarterback. Essentially, we had a duck playing quarterback.
But we started 8-5, and then we went 8-8. I'll go back to that.
There's no turmoil. It's inability to get over the hump. But that's better than being in the Browns or Lions territory of old.
Well, I feel like right now, being a Browns fan, not too bad. They have a lot of young stars.
I'm saying that the dysfunction that they had to go through, we will probably never have to have in the near future. Just gotta
knock
trust
on wood. I got a little fun
Why are you
fact.
crying?
Why am I crying? Because this fun fact is about to rip us to shreds. I'm going to list off the only quarterbacks to lose a home playoff game in regulation after scoring 28 or more points. Trent Green versus Indiana in 2003. Ben Roethlisberger versus Jacksonville in 2007. Dak Prescott versus Green Bay in 2016. Ben Roethlisberger versus Jacksonville in 2017. Ben Roethlisberger versus Cleveland in 2020.
Again, when you throw that, looks like an indictment on the defense, for letting up too many points. It's this one. It's an indictment of Ben. When you throw 4 interceptions, yes, you're going to have to score 4 touchdowns as well.
Yes, exactly. Ben, his stat line wasn't horrible. If you could get rid of the interceptions. Would you look at that? If you could get rid of Ben's interceptions, his stat line looked pretty good. So Ben went
most completions ever in a playoff game.
Yeah, he went 47 for 68, 501 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So those 4 interceptions put our defense in a bad spot. But if I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan at week 5, I'd be like, come on, Ben. Throw some interceptions. I want to make a pick. I want a TJ Watt sack. I want a fumble recovery. But Steelers fan from that game was, God, please stop. We're already dead.
Yeah. Another key thing. I mean, this is something interesting. I don't know if you got this. I don't know how many people know that you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, really. But the hate for the Steelers is very widespread.
Yeah,
Especially this team. Juju gets a bunch of hate because of his TikToks, and I think that's probably rightfully so. And then Ben gets his hate, obviously stemming from his, not his rape charges, and then Marquise Pouncey as well, for his involvement with Aaron Hernandez down there in Florida. I did not know how unpopular this team was. But it is real.
And now Claypool's getting a lot of hate for what he did.
But I think that's whatever. He said it's like, you know what?
Which incident are you referring to? Before the game or after the game?
I'm talking about after the game.
I don't think that's called for at all. You just got absolutely clapped by the Browns. You don't get to say they're trash and they're going to lose to Kansas City. Son, you just got beat. Take it humbly and be like, good game, guys.
Yeah, but it was how it was said. If you look at it verbatim and you're reading it, that's the whole point, Josh. This is a lesson for you, and partially an indictment of what we're doing on this podcast. But only 7% of communication are the actual words that you use, right? So your words on paper, the rest of communication, 93% of it, your facial expression when you say it, how quickly you say it, your tone, your gesticulations, all those things. When you watch him actually say it, it seems very playful. They're going to get clapped. It's not how it's read. I don't think it's such a big deal. Claypool's fine. He's going to be
I think he's fine. He's going to be a star. With him and Deontay next year, it's fine. If Juju's –
don't forget about James.
Well, that's what I mean. So if Juju gets shipped out or Juju doesn't re-sign, then our receiving core is fine. Steelers could do what they classic do and pick up a late round receiver who's a stud. We use him for 4 years. They ship out, and then maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Who cares?
Here's what I believe is that this reminds me of about a decade ago when we had Mike Wallace and Antonio Brown, and we had to re-sign one of them. And it was a really big surprise to people that we let Wallace go, and then we re-signed this relatively unused receiver, Antonio Brown. I feel like James Washington is going to have a similar resurgence.
Yeah, I I do like James Washington. I like the way he plays. I did feel like we didn't utilize any of his skills this year at all. He really didn't see the field. I think that's just because of Claypool with how dominant he was. You want to hear a depressing stat about the final 8 games of the Steelers season?
Okay.
We were outscored 55-6 in the first quarter.
And the only 6 were Joe Hayden's pick.
And the only 6 points came on Joe Hayden's pick. Correct.
That should have been we did take that into account. That is incredibly depressing.
I mean, this team, if I were to describe it, when they come out of the locker room in the first quarter and a half, so like the first quarter and then the first half of the second quarter, they look like they're asleep, like they're sleepwalking on offense, like they don't even know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, right before the half, they're like, oh man, crap, we're losing. Let's start scoring some points. And then after halftime adjustments, Ben comes out like a man possessed, on fire, throwing insane. The receivers are making catches, whatever. So it's just like, what can you do with that? Like how do you get outscored 55-6 in the first quarter? I understand a lot of these points for the final 8 games, defense is getting tired, but you really shouldn't be tired because it's the first quarter. Offense is making points. Ben's throwing interceptions. So it's like, it's frustrating. So back to the actual game, the game that we watched, or if you were me, you did mute it at some point because you just didn't want to hear the commentators talking. I don't remember who was on the game, but they started to get under.
Chris Collinsworth, man. Come on, NBC. It's a primetime lineup.
Yeah, they got under my skin. I don't know. They just kind of started getting.
They're good. They're the best in the biz.
Better than Tony Romo. Tony Romo's starting to really piss me off.
Oh my gosh, Josh,
I loved him, and then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, Tony, we get it. We've all watched football. We know what's going on. Like, you're not some kind of Rain Man all of a sudden. All right, let's talk about some mistakes. Why did we have Robert Spillane covering Jarvis Landry? Can you explain that to me?
We wanted to lose. Next.
Okay. Why didn't the secondary keep up with literally any receiver or tight end on the Browns? Why were they getting torched on practically every play?
They didn't want to win. Next.
Okay. Why did we let Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb seemingly run all over us?
They both had bets that both Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb would score a touchdown and get over 50 yards in the game. Next.
Okay. Why was the offense so unbalanced, only passing? And why was Ben so, Ben?
Well, they heard that, most employers are now paying for therapy. So they figured that, we should start going to therapy. They were Steelers were looking out for us. They want us to start going to therapy.
Yeah. So was the outcome of that game, did that justify resting all of the vets the week before? Because in my opinion, the vets looked like, close your ears, kids, the vets looked like shit. So were they still on vacation? What happened? What gives? Why did none of the guys that got rested, play well?
Okay. It feels like all these questions, you're answering them within your question, buddy.
No. I want to hear your opinion on this. Why did all the vets play like garbage, even though they got the week off the week before? Why did TJ Watt have absolutely no pressure when he was working against?
Isn't it an object rest will remain in rest unless acted on by an outside force? Isn't that a law of physics?
Don't you think going down 28-0 should have been an equal response to get the object in rest moving?
Yeah, I don't know about you. I know you're pessimistic. I really thought up until that point that Ben threw that. Well, really up until that punt, like up in the when we punted.
Up until that punt, I thought we were going to win that game.
Yeah.
On that punt, I said, "Oh no, Tomlin does not we're not winning this game."
Well, even then, we punt it, we get another drive, and we're driving down the field, and then Ben throws that pick to Taki. Like that's when I really that's the point. That was the first point that I gave up.
Yeah.
Like up until then, I still thought we were going to win that.
That punt really sealed the deal because to me that was Tomlin and Finkner saying to everyone, this offense that is driving, that is scoring points, looks completely different than what it did before. This offense that is on a roll, the Browns defense is kind of on their heels. We got them right here. What Tomlin said was, yeah, I don't have faith in these guys, but I'm going to put the defense back out, who's done absolutely nothing today. No pressures, not being able to stop the run, not being able to stick to their assignments. And classic, as you like to say that I just like to point out the bad, our boy Terrell Edmonds did get absolutely torched in this game, which was really fun to see because I really hated that pick, and I still hate that pick.
Okay, one bad game. He had a nice season.
No, he's had a career of bad games. He's just been able to get it covered up by the fact that we were able to get pressure on the quarterback. And now that all of a sudden that didn't happen in this game, he actually had to do his job and couldn't do it. He also missed a freaking wide open field tackle against a running back.
So you're saying because other people failed to do their jobs correctly, Terrell Edmonds failed to do his job correctly?
Yes. I'm saying the offense.
Well, they heard you loud and clear that you didn't like Edmonds, so they cut his brother.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know he was still on the roster. Explain to me why we suited him up every week instead of Dobbs.
Well, why would we need to suit up either when we have Derek Watt?
Oh, you mean Derek Watt, who got his first offensive snaps in the playoff game?
Yeah, 2 carries.
He got 2 carries.
Same motion, same formation, all that stuff.
Yeah. If I can find the clip, it'll be inserted here of the exact same play being called 2 times. I'll break it down for the audio people. The exact same play being called 2 times, Randy Finkner in third and 1, third and short, third and something, whatever. He calls it first time. It works. We got
good breakdown. Third down and short or whatever.
Yeah, third down and short or whatever. Use your imagination. We were getting smacked all game. Just picture the Steelers in third and short. Wide receiver in motion in the backfield.
Receiver in motion in the backfield.
Yeah, Derek Watt takes up the middle and first down on the first time. On the second time, we decide to call the exact same play, and instead of, optioning it or running it to a different side, we decide to run it to the exact same side. And the Browns defense, being as they're not Pee Wee League football, knew exactly what happened and stopped him in the backfield. So, Derek Watt, sick, 2 carries. I'm glad we have him.
Yeah, you said it right. Sick, but sickening.
Sick like Joe Hayden with COVID. Too bad he couldn't be there for the loss against his former team.
It's a good time to reveal to people that this entire time, this has been a Los Angeles Rams podcast account, actually. And we got Jared Goff / what's his name? What's the other dude?
The guy who died? I don't remember his name.
The White Shazier, as they call him. No, I'll probably have to cut that one out.
No. I think that's good. It was very similar injuries. There's that really jarring photo of him in the ambulance when the Rams are taking him off and he's holding his neck and stuff.
Wait, does he have alopecia as well?
That's why he's white. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We'll probably have to cut that. I'm just kidding. I think we should leave it. I think we should leave all of this.
We got one racist fan. It's Peter, but we got one racist. Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, keep it in there.
I want to say goodbye. This is I felt bad the entire time that we recorded this.
We're not done yet. We have so much to talk about.
What are you going to talk about? Let's wrap this up.
No, I think we should talk about real briefly the upcoming playoff games. So I know the Steelers aren't in it, but we might as well just give our picks, not like a betting thing because we don't do that. Although I did lose all of my bets this past weekend. So you take what I say with a grain of salt. Rams, Packers.
Bills, Chiefs.
No.
Rams win. That's my upset pick. And then the Saints beat the Buccaneers.
All right.
What are your picks on those games, Josh?
I do actually agree with the Rams pick. As much as I love the Packers, I think the Rams are a decent upset. Bills, Ravens. I hate the Ravens. I got a Ravens friend who texted me as soon as the Steelers started losing to rub it in. And so I really hope the Bills win. I like Josh Allen. Browns, Chiefs, as much as I hate that we lost to the Browns and as much as I dislike how good the Chiefs are, I would actually like to see the Browns win this game.
Of course, I want the Browns to win it all. They just won't.
I would love the Browns to win it all, but if I were to put money on it, I'd put money on the Chiefs. Buccaneers, Saints, give me Tampa Tommy. Give me Tampa Tommy. I don't care if they lost already twice in the regular season to the Saints. Give me Tampa Tommy in the playoffs.
So we're the same except for the Tampa Bay game.
Oh, you're picking Saints?
Yeah, I got the Saints. I got Taysom Hill leading. Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston winning it all.
Yeah, Tampa Tommy ain't losing this. I also probably will flip to the Packers over the Rams. So this has been a depressing podcast. The Steelers lost. I'm
sad.
I'm so sad. I'm hiding the pain. Will we have a podcast next week? I don't know, but you're gonna have to tune back in to find out, or just rewatch this one. We'll take the views.
I mean, most of our views are just Josh and I listening to ourselves, anyways.
That is true. But it's been a good season. Thanks for listening and watching. And if we have another one, we'll see you then.
That sounds like a funeral.
Well, it is a funeral. The Steelers are dead.
All right. That's kind of sad. Well, if the draft is 3 months away, it's kind of like we'll die and then rise again 3 months later. You know, instead of like the Jesus thing where he like did it after 3 or whatever.
The Steelers or Jesus were just a little bit slow.
Jesus was pretty slow too. He took like 33 years to get to his ministry. All right. You know what? This is turning it. This is what happens when you go to
Tune in next week for our religious podcast where we work through the entire book of Revelation.
Is God real? Stay tuned. We'll answer this question and more. And also, is Ben Roethlisberger the quarterback of the Steelers in 2021? Both equally important questions for our fan base. Bye.
Bye.